Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the superintendent please call the roll?
Mr. Austin.
Present.
Ms. Chisholm.
Here.
Ms. Cormier.
Present.
Ms. Crowley.
Present.
Mr. Moreno. Present. Ms. Wetzel.
Present.
Mr. Lipsick.
Present. We are debuting a new school committee feature tonight, and that is our consent agenda. In a consent agenda, we bundle a number of the smaller items that we have to approve on a regular basis into one, and simply open it up for a straight up or down vote. Any member who wants to pull something off the consent agenda to discuss later can do so during the motion. So I would ask for a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of adopting the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All right, consent agenda is approved. That brings us to public comment. Is there any member of the public who wishes to address the committee at this time? All right, seeing no one, I do not see our city council liaison, Mr. Viola. I know they have a hearing at City Hall tonight, so he is otherwise engaged. And that brings us to reports and presentations of superintendent and staff. Dr. Crowley.
Great. So you're going to meet a few new administrators tonight, starting with the new Director of Technology and Innovation. His resume reads James Gideon Gadet. He goes by Gideon. We've learned. He's joined us just a few short weeks ago, and I feel like his plate has been very full. He has a range of experience that you can see from his resume. He's been a classroom teacher, a building principal, a tech director, and so I feel very fortunate that he joined us here in Woburn just in time for the school year to start, and all of the needs of the many needs. So I'll have you just introduce yourself a little bit, and then the community may have questions.
Sure. Thanks, Dr. Crowley, and thank you to Dr. Crowley and Assistant Superintendent Young and Ryan for the opportunity to serve the district as the Director of Technology and Innovation. I knew my predecessor, and I know how talented she was, and we had a good long talk when she was getting ready to step down, and I was interested in the role. So she told me great things about the position, and I applied, and everything worked out. But we certainly hit the ground running. I got hired August 26th. Tomorrow's 9/26, so we've had a lot to do to get the school year up and running. So it's been a great transition. The team's great, experienced bunch, and I'm really excited to be here. So I really appreciate you inviting me tonight.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Does the committee have any questions? Ms. Crowley.
It's really nice to meet you. Welcome to the district.
Thank you so much.
Just curious to see what are your initial projects that you're working on and your entry plan.
Sure, we just got some capital monies approved, so we're excited about that. We're going to be doing an upgrade to the phone system to be in compliance with our E911 system. We're going to be doing some new Chromebook rollouts to the high school staff. We're going to be doing some new projectors at a couple buildings. So a lot of hardware. We're also looking to upgrade our badge software system, your access control card. So a lot of irons in the fire. We're excited about that. I love being busy. So, and of course, there's the daily work orders and making sure that the students have what they need and the staff. So it's a busy job.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Any additional questions? Mr. Moore.
Thank you. Good evening. Good to meet you, Gideon. Resume includes member of the school committee in North Attleboro.
Yes.
So we're going to start scoring on us?
So we have something in common. No, this is a very nicely run meeting so far. So ours can be
stays that way.
Yeah, ours can be a little bumpy, but yes, this is my second year on the committee.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that service as well.
I appreciate
Welcome
that.
to Woburn.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's certainly one of the things that sticks out for me about your resume is your varied experience in school districts, which I'm sure will serve you very well in this position, understanding all of the different roles that technology can play a part in.
Yeah, it does, Mr. Chairman. You know when a teacher is frustrated by something, you know what they're going through, and as a building principal, that was part of my responsibility. Now at the district level, it's even more of a responsibility. So, yeah, I do understand what people are talking about from a different lens. Yeah, it's nice.
Ms. Corby?
So if I'm reading this right, you were a principal from July 2008, and during that time, through 2015, you were also webmaster, director of transportation, and curriculum coordinator were under your purview as well?
I was voluntold for a lot of those positions.
That's what I yeah.
Yeah, webmaster was just, they picked one person from each school to be the webmaster at the time. I think we had a very small stipend, so no one wanted to do it in my building, so I was stuck with that one. I was transportation director. That was a stipend position, and I was so fortunate to be transportation director at the time when we instituted bus fees. So, yeah, I was the most beloved person in North Attleboro. I'm a stickler for punishment, I guess, so.
Picking up a lot of hats.
A lot of hats.
While running a school.
Right, so
Got it.
even when I see bus drivers, I know what they're going through, yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
Thanks.
Mrs. Chisholm?
What was the population of Whitman-Hanson for students?
Well, North Attleboro was comparable to Woburn. It was about 4,000 students. Whitman-Hanson was about between 3,000 and 3,500. Yeah, so a little bit smaller.
Okay.
Less buildings. They did some consolidation as well. North Attleboro had a lot more buildings similar to Woburn, so I've been out to see most of the principals thus far. I have a couple more to go. I've gotten tours of most of the buildings, so that's been nice. Doing one tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So I'm kind of used to that, driving around, going to many buildings.
Yeah. Well, I saw that you had a staff of 10, so you might be a little bit different here with the number of people that you have to take care of and the number of
Yeah,
staff.
Whitman-Hanson, we had a big tech staff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obviously that helps,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I'll jump in where I need to jump in, and the team's been, they're very efficient. They're very, very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And James will be talking to you. We have assignments.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And one James to another.
No problem.
All right. Any additional questions for Mr. Gaudet? Thank you very much, and
Thank
welcome.
you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. Next on the agenda is the assistant principal at Woburn Memorial High School, Alyssa Allen. So Alyssa's here to meet you and tell you a little bit about her background and what made her want to come to Woburn. So I'll stop there and let Alyssa fill you in.
Thank you, Dr. Crowley, and thank you to everyone present for welcoming me. So I'm really excited to be here. I've had a really great range of experience, and I'm really excited to start my administrative journey here in Woburn. Most of my experience has been working with multilingual learners in my career, and I really admire the diversity that is changing, ever-changing everywhere we go, but especially here in Woburn. So when I saw the position for assistant principal this summer, I was very intrigued. I am local as well. I live right in Burlington, and I've always loved the Woburn community. And I'm really looking forward to getting some amazing work done with all the stakeholders here in Woburn.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none, right. Well, I had a pleasure of meeting you at an event over the summer, and I appreciate that you've already really jumped in. I can see the energy and the passion, so I really appreciate you being here. And you're already wearing orange.
I'm trying to rep it out for everybody. All about the pride. Yes, thank you.
How's the school year started?
It's been incredible. I mean, the warmth I've felt from everyone, from the students to the staff, parents, the community, it's been incredible, and I've felt really, really welcomed. That's made it the easiest transition I think I've had in any role, especially considering I know we've had some recent changes over the past few years in Woburn, and being cognizant of that for the teachers. I've made it my mission to be present and accessible in the first month. And just like that, in the blink of an eye, it's going to be October. And I don't think I've stepped in my office more than 3 times this month, just to water my plants so they don't die. So I've been in classrooms, I've been meeting students. It's really been, overall a very progressive and productive experience. Specifically on our ILT, Instructional Leadership Team, we've been doing some incredible work towards our core values, right? That culturally sustaining, affirmative, that joyful experience that we want everyone to have in our school. So we're doing some incredible work, and I'm looking forward to everyone seeing that come to fruition.
Ms. Crowley?
I'm sorry, I should have asked before, but I really think it's great that you were an English language learner coordinator prior to this role, because that's one of the places that we're seeing a lot of growth in the district.
Absolutely.
And so I think that experience is really going to play well for administration at the high school. So I really appreciate that, and I wish you well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Ms. Watson?
Yes, I had a question actually similar to what Ms. Crowley was saying, and also welcome to Woburn, but I saw that you also had a double major in Spanish, so are you fluent in Spanish as well?
Yes, Spanish is my second language. I use it as kind of like my secret superpower. And some of the kids in the hallway I might creep up on and be like, what do you mean by that? And they're like, you speak Spanish? So it's words getting around, but it's definitely been helpful. And, parent communication has already paid off. And even with some of our newcomers that we have newly enrolled this week alone, I've been trying to create that warm community that I've felt as well, just in that first language for them.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure.
Any additional questions? Seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
The next assistant principal to meet is Heather Pollock, who joins us tonight. She's at the Malcolm White with Rob Nickerson. And so Heather has come to us from Peabody Public Schools, and this is her first experience as an administrator, so I'll let you talk a little bit about how your year started and what it's like.
Absolutely. So thank you, everyone, for having me tonight. I'm very excited to be here in Woburn. Prior to being an assistant superintendent, I was a teacher for 13 years in Peabody Public Schools, the same school. I taught first grade, second grade, third, and fifth. So I have a really good grasp of the curriculum, and I really understand what the teachers are facing at each grade level, and I think that's really something that I'm very excited to do, is support teachers. I said to myself when I was younger, there's a picture of me in a red blazer, that before I'm 40, I want to be an assistant principal. And I turned 40 in December. So I'm very excited to be here. And Woburn in particular, my dad growing up, he had a business in Woburn. So Woburn's always been a special place to me and my family. So I was a tanner in Peabody, and now I'm a tanner in Woburn. In my elementary school, we were the Tigers as well. And now my new home, the Tigers. So yeah, it's like it was meant to be. But I'm really looking forward to making connections with the community. That's one of my big initiatives, being present and bringing all members of the school community together and working in a dynamic way. I just came from a PTO meeting, so we talked about maybe doing a Zumba class. So just thinking outside the box and engaging families that might not be might not have been present in our school community, because Woburn is very, it's different. The dynamics have been, and the demographics have been changing, and I'm really excited to address that and welcome the change and diversity.
Thank you. Any questions from Ms. Pollock? Mr. Moreno?
Maggie, Mr. Chair, good evening. Welcome to Woburn. I'll look at your additional curriculum training, and I'll turn to Ms. Young down there as well. Is there anything missing, Ms. Young? I mean, it looks like she's pretty much, I can just see her checking off all these boxes during the interview process for Woburn, so I'll look forward.
Ready to go.
Yeah, I guess so, coming ready to go, so I appreciate all that training. I'm sure Ms. Young will put you right into the training mode with the rest of the schools as we need you, so I appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And during our interviews, Courtney and I could just see her passion for curriculum, and that's really what excited me as well, being a part of that initiative and the change.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ms. Watson?
Yeah, hi, welcome to Woburn.
Thank you.
I had a question, just what drew you from teaching to administration? Like, what was the passion there?
Absolutely. I love students. I love teaching. My grandfather was a teacher. And as I got older and I had experience in different roles and different leadership positions, I just saw the need for strong leaders. I think that teachers, if you love teaching, I want your job to be teaching students. I will handle the rest. I love to advocate for teachers and for students, write grants, communicate, and support teachers however I can. And I think that to have my passion reach a larger audience is really exciting, and that's what I wanted to do. I'd love to motivate people. I have a saying, believe it, be it, see it. So if we believe that our students can achieve high success and we be the educators that our students need, then we'll see the results. That's my motto. And I'm really excited to motivate teachers to just do their craft and work with their students, and I can support them along the way.
That's great. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Mrs. Chisholm?
Well, I'm glad I come from Peabody, which is one of our cohort, things that we compare ourselves to, so that's nice. And I'm sure you have a closet full of black and orange that you'll be ready to wear for us. Besides the parking at the White School, is there another issue that you see quickly and come to light that you would like to see addressed or work on? Or even at the PTO tonight, was there something there that they're looking to see changed?
I would love to see a new playground.
Yeah.
I think our kids deserve a new playground. I think that we have a lot of diverse families, and I think that I think there's room for that. I would also like to see more technology in the classroom, but I think the first thing is the playground, and that I've heard that from multiple stakeholders. I think that would be nice, and we're working towards that too, to find different ways to fundraise.
Great.
But I've really enjoyed my time there and getting to know the students. I have some pieces of art on my wall now, so it's really nice. It's a great school.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any additional questions from Ms. Pollock?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. Welcome.
And last but certainly not least, Amanda Williams, but also I'd invite, I'd also invite Meg Patrici.
Feels awkward.
Not a new face, but certainly a welcome.
Yeah, so you may be familiar with Meg. She's been in Woburn for a couple more days than Gideon, but a new role, and so it's a new team at the Goodyear. So thank you both for being here, and just opportunity for Amanda to talk a little bit about yourself, but then maybe the both of you to talk about your entry into the Goodyear.
Sure. Big one. Yeah. A big splash we've made. So Amanda Williams, thanks so much for having me tonight. It's nice to see you all. I have seen your faces, believe it or not. I watch you. Well, I know I shouldn't be on my phone when I'm driving, but on my commute for Merrimack, I do listen in on the school committee meetings. And I've heard a lot about what has been brought up that's important to the district and things like that. I didn't know a lot about Woburn when I saw the position, but I did my research, I did my homework, and I know you were going through a lot last spring, but one of the things I think that drew me immediately to the position was actually a post that I saw about how teachers are recognized in this district and the accolades they receive and how the district appreciates their staff so much and puts them in the highest regard. And that's one of the reasons why I got into leadership after being a teacher for so long, is that I wanted teachers to feel empowered and I want to support them. And, I think sometimes in leadership roles, you want someone that knows what you're going through. And so as an educator, it's nice to be able to go into a classroom and say, it's okay, you're having a hard time right now. I've been there, but I'm going to help you get through this. So I really see myself more as a coach in this position, and learning a lot also from Ms. Tracy and her amazing background as a leader for so many years at the high school. We're really like each other's yin and yang, we've said, when I'm like the elementary school whisperer and she's the high school whisperer. So together we've really come in to support our staff. We had a lot of needs right when we came in. When I was hired, I didn't think I was starting right away. I was just mentioning before, and then the following week, when I talked to her, she was like, so we have some staff to hire. And we just really got underway right away. But it was amazing, and I think the opportunity to join her and come in together is one that you don't often find in a school setting. Usually somebody's already been there, and you're coming in under their wing, but we've really done everything together as a unified team, and I think that the staff and the students and the families really see that. And it was important for her to have some important conversations with me, and likewise with her, to make sure our values were there and aligned. So I could go on and on. I'll kind of stop there and let you just ask questions as you will, but it's been amazing. It's been a challenge, and I'm really excited to see where we go this year.
Before we hear from the team as a whole, I don't know if the committee has any questions specifically for Ms. Williams. Mr. Moran.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I would, Ms. Williams, I appreciate your resume. It looks great, educational-wise and all that, but what kind of jumps out at me is all your volunteer experience, and as indicated tonight, Ms. Tracy's not new to the district, but new to the Goodyear. So looking at some of your volunteer experience, what you've done, I think this would be a great working relationship with you and Meg up there, getting some of these things off the ground, just take a little bit off Meg's plate and, taking some of that off. It's a busy school as it is, on a plain day, but I think with the specials up there and things that you've added to it, I can see a lot happening over there at the Goodyear with the wonderful team that we have, moving forward. So I appreciate all you've done so far and the rest of the year as well. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Ms. Watson, go ahead.
Hi, we talked a little before, and as a parent of the Goodyear, it's been great seeing you both. Like at back to school night, I was saying there was a lot of energy, and I think as parents we really felt that. And you're outside every morning. It's wonderful to see your faces, and I know we spoke a little bit about this too, the new pickup and drop off, which I think is going fantastically well. And I'd love to hear, just for any parents at the Goodyear listening, what the perspective is inside the building of how that looks and feels potentially different than what it did before.
Sure. I think that's a great way to start out talking about that, is that we really prioritize safety first. Do you want me to talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So safety first. And what was happening before is that families were just dropping off in the front of the building, and all the students just entered, through the front, all at once. And it was a little chaotic. It was a little unsafe in a sense of not knowing who's coming in the building and such. And we have one secretary, bless her heart, Anna. She works so hard, and there are parents that need to get to her in the morning. So that was really taking over the whole front entrance. So what we did was, we said we have this wonderful back space by the playground, we have a gate there, let's just have students come through the gate, and then we have an abundance of doors where they can enter in two separate stairwells. So that way when the kids come back in the morning, we have staff greet them back there, and it just brings them in a more calm and less chaotic manner. And we train the students to know what door leads them up to their classroom. So that way traffic is lighter and kids are just happier and calmer getting settled walking into the building, instead of this mad dash, and it's loud and everything echoes. It was just too crazy. So we have them come around the back. Parents don't love that they have to give their kiddo that one last squeeze. I know I struggle with that as a mom too. But we promise they're in safe hands. That's where you love them, and then you take over and we love them just as much. So they come around back, they come in the building, and they enter up into their classrooms that way.
Yeah, I think that was,
a little bit,
I think that does. So yeah, thank you.
Behind the back.
Yeah, no, it does. And
Yeah.
as a parent of one of our kids who doesn't like to go in the front door, it's actually been very refreshing. So, so thank you. Thank you for your leadership at the building. It's appreciated as a school committee member and as a parent there, so thank you.
Any additional questions for Ms. Williams? Mrs. Chisholm.
What would you say was your biggest challenge at starting the school year for either one of you? The newness or, I don't know, parents' involvement or anything that is a challenge to get?
Well, I think the biggest challenge when we came into the building was looking at the staff openings and prioritizing getting our team together first and then push out our philosophy. So I feel like that was our first hurdle, and then over the summer, we really were mindful about making meet and greets for all the staff that were returning and listening to their input to see what, because it's hard to open a building when you've never been in it when it's working, right? So you have to listen to the experts, which are our staff there, who have been fantastic. So we were able to do meet and greets with their staff. We took, diligent notes, and we were thoughtful about what we did for arrival and dismissal. So that was probably the biggest shift in the beginning of the year, where staffing and then making sure safety is a priority, and the arrival and dismissal plan and the hires.
Great. Well, welcome both of you to the elementary level.
Back to.
Yes.
Yeah, back, yeah. Full circle.
Yeah, I started my first, I think it was 8 years at Clapp School. I think I've taught at all of them, except for I hurled one. Well, it would be hurled back in the day. But yes, I was fortunate to have all the schools under my umbrella.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And Ms. Patrici, obviously, you are joining us in a new role, but I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about that transition for yourself as well, now that...
Yeah, so I'm
I'm
grateful to be given the opportunity to be a leader in a building and have a partner, I say, in crime here, that we've just been able to start together. I do remember our first conversation. She's like, well, I don't really start until August. I'm like, oh, well, that might have to change. So, and I just said, I would love to have you in because we're building a team together. So I've been fortunate to come in together, open our building up, and really make the building our own, but being mindful of there's a great established community there with really veteran teachers and some really young, educators, and it's been really great to enjoy building together and learning from them and learning from parents and the community. And also I've been uberly supported by administration and then the layers, their assistants and all. So I've been very fortunate, and I'm just grateful, I guess. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Any questions for Ms. Patrici as well? We're very excited to see what you both do at the Goodyear, and I'm excited for the new role and the new
You're going to have a great year. Thank you.
We're almost to October. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now that we have met our new administrators, that brings us to the WPS instructional framework. Ms. Young, Ms. Ryan.
All right, let me,
We can put it on the big screen, but we also
Thank you all for coming in.
large.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
if you want to grab your binders, feel free.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Sure.
That was smart. Good idea.
Oh, thank you.
One for you.
Compliments are due. Alrighty, so we're going to talk about the Woburn Instructional Framework, and we thought it was a great opportunity to start the year with this. You will begin seeing it in either the large foam core version, but we also have it printed out in color and smaller versions to be around the district. And really what this is based off of is our current strategic plan, as well as, and you can see there's a little QR code in the bottom that I have confirmed works, that you can look at another time, but links you to the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Educational's vision. And so we really looked at merging the vision that the state has presented us as our kind of educational vision for all learners, as well as what we have developed as a vision within our strategic plan, and put that into a visual that really is transparent for the community and for ourselves and for students on really what grounds teaching and learning in Woburn Public Schools. With that, when Ms. Ryan and I were talking about kind of sharing this tonight, it felt like a good opportunity to kind of remind what is in the strategic plan, kind of what are the big buckets, and then talk about how it's tied together here. So as a reminder, and I know that you have the most updated version of the strategic plan here, but also a reminder that if you go to that on the website and go to the bottom with the action plans, you can see and drill down to what are our updated specific initiatives for the year. But Initiative 1, which is really around collaborative planning time and deeper learning, is around looking at horizontal and vertical planning, instructional practices, data analysis, and ensuring consistency of deeper learning and overall instructional practices.
What we have focused in this first initiative on is really looking at our Rubicon Atlas templates, ensuring that we are embedding the DCAP, UDL principles into that, as well as also, we've been very fortunate to adopt some great new curriculums this past school year and into this school year, and really updating our maps accordingly. We're also looking at our multi-year K-12 comprehensive math plan development, as I had highlighted last spring as part of our Student Opportunity Act work. We are working on a retraining, hence the binders, a retrain for all of our administrators on the educator evaluation, as well as looking at the new educator evaluator rubric. Ooh, a lot of words in there. And then we are aligning all of our professional learning to our instructional vision. And if you've seen kind of the SMORE that's gone out, one of the things that we're really looking at within our choice-based days for the year is really aligning to our pathways and our choice time to the instructional framework. And then we're really focused on layers of support for all professionals in our district, from administrators, educators, paraeducators, around coaching and implementing the coaching cycle. So that's really what embodies kind of the first initiative. Okay. You are up.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Initiative 2 and then Initiative 3. Before I jump into that, I want to say that when Ms. Young first showed me this graphic that she had put together, it really struck me the core values: culturally affirming, joyful, inclusive, and supportive. And it's who we are as a school community. And this graphic, I think, speaks volumes. And so I really do think this is a great piece of work, and it ties really nicely with the initiatives in our strategic plan. So when I talk about Initiative 2, and I'll actually read it, Initiative 2 is building tiered systems of support. The second initiative aims to establish a data-informed, comprehensive, and culturally supportive tiered system. This system ensures robust academic and social-emotional supports across different levels, Tier 1, 2, and 3 for all students, especially focusing on multilingual learners and students requiring special services. And, you know, when I think about this initiative, Ms. Young and I work together on a lot, and one of the things that you'll hear both of us say is these are all of our students, and we work very hard, whether a student is learning at a Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3 level. They are all of our students, and we work really hard to make sure that our educational structures are cohesive and comprehensive, and that education will be high quality and accessible to every learner. So with that said, in this second tier, some of the examples of the tiered systems of support on opening day, Katie Novak came and spoke. She delivered a really great presentation to all of our staff. I think it was very applicable, and it was easy to understand, and I think it hit home for a lot of people. Universal design for learning is something that we will be working on with Katie over the school year. And I think that is, you know, a really nice example. With respect to literacy, it's something that we are continuously working on. We are building on our work in the district with Crafting Minds, Melissa Organ, and we're doing it across all tiers, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3, expanding into the middle school this year. And we've accomplished a lot, and with our plan, we still have more to accomplish. We're also working with literacy in terms of we have many new staff, as I think everybody knows this year, and we have staff that are being trained in the Wilson Reading Program, Linda Moudal, Lively Letters, Links, B&B, and visualizing, verbalizing. We also are working with math. Becky Lord has been in and is doing some really great work in terms of our math curriculum. On the social emotional front, we continue to have a relationship with the Triumph Center. They are consulting at all levels to really build capacity with our therapeutic programs and to work with our students that have some social or emotional challenges. We also have an SEL, a coordinator this year, who is doing some really nice work in helping to bridge some of these pieces. We're expanding DESA into grades 6 through 8 this year, which is another tool, another SEL tool. And we also were working, we updated our DCAP plan, and we are working with all of our educators to assist so that all of our students can access the curriculum that is appropriate for them. So that is Initiative 2. And Initiative 3 is supporting deeper learning through resources and structures. Third initiative seeks to build the necessary systems and structures, such as staffing, resource allocation, and scheduling. This includes reviewing current schedules and expanding student options inside and outside of the classroom. So some of the different pieces with this initiative, I would say one thing, as we've talked a lot about over the past few months, is we have done an enormous amount of hiring here at the Woburn Public Schools. And we have a Director of Human Resources that joined us a few months ago, and we have really worked on establishing some consistent hiring practices, a hiring manual, and really worked to recruit and retain diverse staff that, will only expand the talent pool of our existing educators. We're very lucky to have such talented staff here in Woburn, and I think we will continue to attract new staff, and I think that this is a piece, is having a really robust hiring process. We also have been working on the schedules. At the elementary level, they were adjusted so that we could provide some more targeted interventions for some of our students that perhaps need special education services or multilingual needs. We also, at the middle school, are working on a committee to look at the schedules for the middle school. And at the high school, we are piloting a schedule, and we are hoping to have some changes perhaps for the fall. In terms of building structures and capacity, we are working together with the committee that Ms. Wetzel has been leading with our early childhood program to assist with looking at some of the structures there. And we also have been working and are continuously working to keep our buildings safe. And so school safety is always something that we are looking at. And that is the third initiative.
And so really the goal of our instructional framework is to validate many of the things that are already existing and already happening in Woburn Public Schools. But one of the things that we've talked a lot about in preparation for the start of this school year is that there's a lot of things happening, and it's helpful to really focus on what matters most. And so the goal is to really validate all of the time the things that matter most for us in terms of our instructional experience for all of our students. And so this will be posted around our buildings and in all of our schools to promote and provide visibility, and to also be ensuring that we're focusing on the most important things. And as everyone knows, my favorite thing is joy. And not just the movie, but spreading joy. And I think that when school feels happy and everyone's feeling joyful, it's a better place to be and a place you want to come. And so our hope is that this is able to resonate, and you can't miss it. But we look forward to helping have this be a through line. And again, for those who have been seeing the update from the curriculum department, will have noticed that we've started with this as really the center of our work over the course of the year. And again, if you are interested in seeing how it links to what the Department of Education has provided, which I will say is actually a very good document, you can scan the QR code on any of them and be brought to Jesse's Educational Vision, which is also a frame for the work.
Thank you very much. Does the committee have questions for Ms. Young and Ms. Ryan? Ms. Watson.
Not so much a question, a comment. I really love that joyful is included in this. It's probably my favorite word listed, because without joy, you can't really have learning. So I think that being one of the core values in the center of what we're doing is fantastic. And I'm in one of our subcommittees, SSA. Ms. Ryan said there's so many smiling faces on both the teachers and the staff, so I think that's joy being present inside as well. So thank you for all the hard work. Appreciate it.
Ms. Chisholm.
Just to update your stakeholder group.
So this stakeholder group is representative of who was on the committee at the creation of the vision.
Okay.
And so we've talked a bit about it. And so these are the members that created the work and the roles that they served at the time of doing it. And so it's really a
History.
value of who was present for that time.
All right, maybe you can do amendments at the end to add who, just so that people get credit for volunteering this time. And
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think there should be people missing who've helped along the way. I've added people as they've gone. but-
Okay, yeah. Well, different rules. Mike Concanon, I mean, city council. He's up his grade a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Ms. Crowley?
I just had a question on Initiative 2. It says that I guess the action steps is to create an instructional support team vertically to effectively implement tiered support. And is that, am I looking at this correctly, that that's so that each school responds sort of similarly to social and emotional concerns?
We're looking at, we have a up and running IST process, SST process that is happening at our elementary schools, our middle schools, and our high schools. And of course, there are things that are aligned. We're looking at this as an opportunity to review those both horizontally and vertically to ensure that all practices are, we had implemented a consistent process, but of course, is something during the implementation phase, there are things that are adjusted and changed as people are using things, as well as with, as Ms. Bryant talked about, the revised DCAP, ensuring that that's a part of, has been implemented. It's really a review and alignment is needed.
So I guess a teacher or someone identifies a student may having difficulties, and then a group of people sort of meet and discuss that student?
Yes.
So you could implement services proactively without necessarily leading to a special ed evaluation process?
Correct. And the team may address SEL needs, it may be academic needs.
Right.
It's really focused on the whole student, and the students may need tier 1, tier 2, or
Right.
perhaps even tier 3 instruction. Or in some instances, it may be a referral to special education. But the team is really, we're looking to have consistency and data-driven practices that really can look at what the student needs to be successful.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? No? Thank you both for such a wonderful piece of work and something that I think really reflects what we want our schools to be. I really appreciate it. And that finally brings us to the review of superintendent goals with Dr. Crowley. And just sort of a couple things for the public. First, the strategic plan that Ms. Young, Ms. Ryan, and Dr. Crowley were referencing is available on the WPS website, so you can find it there. And second, just to sort of update in terms of the status of superintendent evaluation. This is the first year that this committee and that Dr. Crowley are moving to a 2-year evaluation cycle. So what that means is Dr. Crowley presented goals to the committee last school year. In this meeting, Dr. Crowley is going to review those goals and talk about progress towards them. That moves us towards final evaluation on these goals and on the broader superintendent rubric at the close of this school year. So that represents a 2-year cycle, which reflects Dr. Crowley's status as a longer tenured superintendent with experience.
With gray hair.
With gray hair. Gray hair to match.
All right, so with that being said, for those that are veteran committee members, this is a repeat of what I presented previously, and to Ms. Wetzel and Mr. Austin, just the first chance to hear me talk through what I presented last year. And like Mr. Lipset indicated, I'll allude to progress made. Not everything is done because it's a 2-year process. One of the things that I would tell you is that I find that the work is really actually never done. And so there'll be things that we try to do that inevitably get shifted. And we'll articulate that with you in real time. There's no secrets necessarily. I'm going to go through my goals, but before I do, I think it's important to say that I don't do this work alone. And just the presentation that you just heard from Ms. Ryan and Ms. Young about our instructional framework and the strategic plan is an example of how we work as a central office leadership team. And you heard from the administrators that came in. And it's not in a goal here, but last spring, I stood in front of the city council, and I just saw Mr. Viola come in. And so, one of the things that I perceive my job to be is to be the chief advocate for the Woburn Public Schools. So that's for students and for staff, and to advocate for the resources necessary to provide a world-class education to our students. And so I want to support the kids, and I want to support teachers and administrators and families. And so that's not really embedded in a goal, but that's kind of just globally how I think. And when we went through the budget process last spring, which was a lot of fun, I appreciate the school committee support and the city support, and I think we did a lot last spring together. Again, that's not reflected anywhere here, but as we think about this year and where we're headed, as the year unfolds, I would invite you to weigh in on what you perceive to be priorities as we're thinking about the next school year. As we talked about last year, it's never too soon to think about next year. So, okay. So the process, and again, this is very similar to what the teachers and administrators do. It's a process where there's self-reflection, and then I write goals. There's a rubric that I'm evaluated against that's linked here that you can click into at your leisure. There are 4 standards. Standard 1 is instructional leadership. Standard 2, management and operations. Standard 3 is family and community engagement. And standard 4 is professional culture. And those are the same indicators that or standards that we use, that all educators in the Commonwealth use, and the rubrics look different. So my rubric looks different than a classroom teacher, and principal's rubric looks different than mine. So there's slight variation there. And then there's different types of goals. I have 2 district goals. There's a student learning and a professional practice goal. And so one of the things that's upcoming and are the school improvement plans that the schools do. They also have school improvement goals, a professional practice, and a student learning goal. So there is a through line through all of our work connected to the strategic plan. And this is more or less what I just alluded to. District goal is to operationalize the strategic plan. I could repeat everything that Courtney and Maureen just alluded to. You have a hard copy and a digital copy, and so obviously this guides our decision-making and our priorities as we go through this school year. One of my goals from last year, and it continues into this year, I serve as an integral, that's a big word, part of the Woburn Public Schools and City of Woburn committees, the building committees. And so I say that because we've met last year a few times, including touring buildings as a group, and we have a meeting tomorrow night as a building committee, an ad hoc building committee with multiple stakeholders. And you'll hear tonight, we had an ECP meeting earlier this week, and so there are a lot of moving parts as it relates to facilities here that obviously require attention, and once we make decisions, I envision this year, relative to what decision we make or is made, becoming actively engaged in writing proposals MSBA-type things that I assume will emerge. So I don't know what they are yet, but the student learning goal that I had and have, oversee the implementation of initiatives 1 and 2 of our strategic plan. And again, I don't want to be redundant, but some of the key actions, scheduling review. We're trying to get back the middle school schedule onto the agenda. It does require, and it's great, where the WTA and the administration work together. For the benefit of people that are new, we've had this committee in the past, and then a pandemic and things of that nature interrupted this conversation. But I'm saying that because I think that most people are in agreement that we do need to look at the middle school schedule very closely, and so that is in the queue. I know at the high school they piloted a schedule last year. They're looking to finalize and work towards something so that a year from now, the schedule at the high school would look different than it does today. The comprehensive literacy plan, you've heard quite a bit about in the past, and you'll hear more about in the future. That obviously fits hand in glove with the MTSS, the tiered systems of support that Maureen just referenced. The evaluation calibration, this is what Ms. Young referenced. We are doing a year-long training with our administrators this year so that there's an expectation at all levels of what we're looking for in classes, and so we can be clear with each other, but also, more importantly, with teachers too. And so that we start on October 1st. We have a full day of professional development. There is a huge binder. We have a lot of work to do on this year, and that's being taught by an outside organization called Research for Better Teaching. It's John Safier, his organization. They're nationally known, but they are local, and so we're fortunate to have them come and working with our staff this year. I think the aligned professional development, you've seen the s'mores and the amount of work that has gone into that. Ms. Young really has put a great deal of effort into ensuring that our professional learning is aligned to our strategic plan, and that it makes sense for our educators to get what they need to be successful in the classroom. The Tiered Literacy and Inclusive Academy, we partnered with DESE last year, and that's at the middle schools. And so what will happen here, they're working, it's a multi-year relationship with DESE. So last year was Abby Gillis and Kathy Boge and Tom Quayle and Carl Nelson working to figure out and prioritize our literacy and inclusion practices at the middle schools. When the middle school comes to do their school improvement plan, you're going to learn a lot more, because this is related to what they are working on this year. And expanding early college. So 2.5 years ago, I want to say, I forget when, I was invited to meet up at UMass Lowell, the chancellor, and so Courtney and I went and met the chancellor. I'm an alumni, so that's why. Nothing. But we were talking about opportunities for kids, and that was really why we were there. And she offered to have Woburn join the early college initiative. And so we were able to put classes in at the high school last year, largely in the science department, that offered college credit to kids. And it's co-taught by a member of the high school faculty and a UMass Lowell professor. And kids are able to earn college credits for free. I think it's, the total number of credits they could earn might be like,
equivalent to about 2 years.
yeah.
And then it also just provided us the ability to apply for the actual early college designation,
Right.
which we're waiting to hear back from.
Right.
It's great. It's a great deal.
It is a great...
To Kim Westenhoven, for real estate.
Yes, right. Thank you. And last year, we had 7 students enrolled. This year, we have 25.
Wow.
And so, and yes, Kim Gustenhoven has really been driving that for us, and we are, again, trying to provide opportunities for our students here to get the credits before they even leave the high school. So, and my professional practice goal it surrounds equity and a commitment to equity here in the district. We have worked, and you've heard this, the SEED group, you might have heard that before. A few years ago, we read a book called Unconscious Bias in Schools. The author was Sarah Fireman at Harvard. And so as a leadership team, we went through a SEED training. It was Wednesday afternoons on Zoom for a full year. And it was very powerful training, but it was a lot about internally how your own equity work. We then last year, I know we trained, had 4 teachers go through the training, and then this year the intent is to have 4 more teachers go through the training, so that we're building capacity at the school level so that teachers can do, it's a train-the-trainer model, so we can lead trainings here in the Woburn Public Schools surrounding equity. The ongoing professional development for the team. We are partnering with the Equity Imperative this year. We are doing professional development with the leadership team. We kicked that off in October. That's an outside group. They're coming to do work with all of our leadership team. It'll be both in-person and hybrid throughout the year. Matthew Rodriguez. I remembered the first name for some reason. But actually really looking forward to working with this group. They come highly recommended from actually the Secretary of Education in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and so I'm really looking forward to doing work with the Equity Imperative. We also last year participated in the MASS and DESE, the READY initiative, and it was called Equity in Action, and so there was a team of about 8 people. This see how we work here?
You start, she finishes.
Yeah, right. I got to pick up my speech pattern. No, there was a team of eight of us, and we actually would go out to Marlborough, and we're doing some equity work as a team, and then coming back and trying to look at Woburn and what could change and move the needle as it relates to equity. Woburn was so impressive. They invited us, actually they really did. They asked us to come back this year, and so we did present at the Equity in Action, and so we will be sending another group of people to the Equity in Action. It starts this Friday, and so I'm saying all this, and Courtney's nodding because she will be in Marlborough on Friday.
Try to remember where to turn.
So, and then, lastly, we do participate in the Mass Partnership for Diversity in Education. So that's actually through Tony Wyman, our HR director, attends events, recruiting fairs, and I think was in Cambridge earlier this year. He's been in Brookline, and there's virtual fairs to try to recruit candidates, diverse candidates. We've been a member for, I think, 6 years now, and it's a great organization, and we're lucky to be part of. And I think that's it.
questions or comments for Dr. Crowley regarding the goals? Ms. Crowley?
I'd like to see in the district goal systems and structures, I don't know if we're giving feedback or just one thing that I think we should pin is maybe adding in safety initiatives as well. I'm sure it's embedded in there somewhere, but I would, I'd like to see a key action regarding, overall safety of the schools.
So, want me to respond?
Yes.
Or? Yeah. So obviously, we agree. School safety matters. I'm going to give Maureen, Ms. Ryan, a bunch of credit here. This has kind of landed with her quite a bit, but we do have a JLMC safety committee. Ms. Nickerson's here tonight. She's part of that. We met multiple times last year. A couple outcomes as we sit here today. The I Love You Guys standard response protocol is been adopted. There are visuals. I don't have my ID on, but there are visuals everywhere in the schools now. We have used that protocol a few different times this year where we've gone into a hold, for example, for a medical emergency. It's been really, really helpful to have common language. It's easy to read, and it's in multiple languages. And so that has been a huge initiative, a huge lift. We're also in every classroom now, again, thanks to some elves upstairs. There are backpacks in every classroom, red backpacks that have stop the bleed kits, etc. So in the event of an emergency, we have that ready to go. We are also, we have a new radio system throughout the district so that every school has multiple radios that connect to each other within the school, but then some of the radios are super radios that connect to other schools, but also directly to the police station. So with the press of a button, we can get to the police. And so that's been another initiative to try to make sure that our kids are safe and our staff feel safe. We are also looking to, last year the city allocated money for locks, and so we are in that process as well. We've done an inventory of all of the doors, all of the hinges on the doors have numbers on them. So the doors have been counted and we know exactly what lock is on what door, and we're in the process of figuring out how to do that again in real time.
Right.
So that, Maureen, am I missing anything?
Yeah, no, I can add with respect to the doors, that's something that we did have someone come in and work with us. It's a little bit more complex than people might think because we have so many different buildings across the city built at different times, and trying to standardize everything and make it safe and have master key control, et cetera, it's not a quick task, but it's something that we're actively working towards. Having in place that's consistent across the district. The backpacks, I think, are really nice to have. They have first aid, stop the bleed, glucose tablets, etc., and we're able to add to them, so we're working with our nurses. We wanted to get them into the classrooms, and we will probably be adding some additional ones to some schools. There is obviously a cost factor that goes with it, but we did put this as a priority item. And we will continue to add to them as appropriate. With respect to the I Love You Guys, the protocols, standard response protocol, and also standard reunification method, one thing that I would say just for the public is on the Woburn Public Schools webpage, we did put right on the front page a safety button, and I would encourage people to actually look at that and review the protocols. There is a parent guide that we put up there so that people can get a little bit more familiar with some of the protocols. And we're also really working to have consistent messages across the district. So for example, If a school goes into a hold, it could be a minor issue. It could be a child that happened to just be sick in a hallway and we just want to contain people while we clean. There were various reasons for it, and what we are trying to do is just be transparent to respect the privacy of students, but to alert families so that if their child comes home, they'll understand that there was an incident and it was addressed. And if there is confusion over messaging that comes home, I would encourage people to look at the safety website, because those different instances are actually defined for families on the website. And we are, on Election Day, we will be running, again, some professional development for our staff regarding safety. Some of it is because we have a lot of new staff, and also I think just to continue to keep people current on the protocols, have refreshers. We are focusing on that for Election Day. And the last thing I would add is I think the biggest piece really is awareness, and I think the teachers and the community, people have been very good about just being vigilant. And when I think it was Mr. Burnham was telling me he had gone to look at something for me on a school property and they didn't recognize him. And so immediately there were all sorts of alarm bells that went about a man on the playground or whatever looking at something. It was in fact my name, but I was really excited that was the response, because that's what we want. And so I think there's genuinely sort of a collaborative effort by everybody just to really keep safety as a priority. So we're going in the right direction for sure.
Thank you. I guess my comments were that not necessarily that the superintendent isn't working on safety, but maybe that should just be integrated into the superintendent's goals. And I'm not, suggesting that you change your goals, but I think it's just so important. You can't talk about it enough, and so it would be nice to reinforce that when the superintendent gives his update in the spring.
It's interesting what safety's meant, too, over the years.
So thank you for answering the question. I appreciate it.
Great.
Any other comments or questions for Dr. Crowley regarding goals?
No action on this time, this is just...
No, this is a review.
Informational.
We will be moving towards an evaluation by the end of the year, but this is a check-in point, an opportunity for Dr. Crowley to talk again about the goals and talk about some of the progress towards them. All right, seeing none.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to the end of our regular agenda and into subcommittee reports. Finance and personnel.
We'll be meeting next week.
Okay. Community relations. I understand you met this evening.
Yes, we did. And I'm looking to have a report for our next meeting.
Thank you. Curriculum and data trends.
We have not met, although I do want to compliment Ms. Young on the Samoa's notification that we got out recently. And we'll probably be meeting before the next, probably the same morning as a policy, but we'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Policy.
We will be meeting on October 11th at 9 a.m.
Great. Thank you. Resources and capital planning.
Have not met.
Okay. Student services and achievement.
Yes, we met on 9/20, and actually the bulk of what we talked about was actually school safety, so that was largely already covered. But I did in my notes, which will all be public on the school committee's page on the Woburn Public Schools website, you'll find links to everything that Ms. Ryan mentioned, but like she already said, the safety site, safety tab is at the top. CPAC gave a quick update. They're also focusing on safety this year, so it seems to be a general theme. And then long-term agenda items between school committee, administration, and CPAC. We're also going to focus on safety and trying to support each other, specifically working with the SROs inside of our buildings to making sure they're more present inside of our buildings, which has already been happening, and kids and family are familiar with who those people are, and also maybe working on some bios for who they are, so it's more familiar for everybody. And there's, they're part of our community just like everybody else. So. And yes, we adjourned at 9:52 and we started at 9 a.m.
Thank you very much. And that brings us to the WPS Building Committee.
Yes, so as the committee knows, we have an ad hoc committee that is charged with making non-binding recommendations regarding the school buildings. We have our eye on 4 buildings, Alta Vista, Linscott, Kennedy, and the Joyce. And right now we're going through the process of deliberating which new building project we recommend the city to proceed with, which project should go through the MSBA to maximize efficiency and fiscal responsibility for the taxpayers. And we're also deliberating building an early childhood program and where, if need be. So we're continuing to negotiate and deliberate. It is my hope that we will reach a consensus as we're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars, and I hope to reach that soon. So I'm very, very grateful for the building committee and all of the work that they're doing. Most of the folks are volunteer parents and stakeholders, and they're making a big commitment and really doing some wonderful things for the city of Woburn. So most importantly, our meeting is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. in this very room, if people want to come. It is a public meeting. Thank you,
very
Mr.
much.
Chair.
Thank you. And a new addition to our subcommittee reports, the ECP Task Force, Ms. Wetzel.
Yes, we met on 9/23, and thank you, a shout out to anyone listening on the committee. It is also made up of, well, we're working on getting parent involvement, so on that note, any parents that are interested inside the ECP, we're hoping to get one parent from the Reeves and one parent from the Shamrock. I have received a few people interested, so you can feel free to email me, jessiewetzel@woburnps.com, and I'm happy to, we would like 2 more people on the committee from parent side. My notes, a lot of the first half is logistical, so I'm not going to read through all that, but again, those will be posted. Some of the big takeaways, so the goal of the ECP task force is to find a building, either one we have, or look at leasing something or building something that'll work for the ECP program. And we will be meeting bi-weekly, so we had our first meeting this past Monday, and we'll be meeting again on October 8th at 3:15, and those meetings are held at the Reeves just because a lot of the staff are at the Reeves already. And some of the things to note that we did look at, so we're looking at kind of 3 different areas of where the ECP might fit. And again, this is brainstorming. It's very, very new. Nothing's definitive. It's kind of just things we're looking at to see if these are even viable options. So one idea was using the first floor of the Reeves as an ECP space, and then using the second floor of the Reeves as the K through 5th grade, and then you would have 2 grades per, or 2 classrooms per grade. So that's idea 1.
Sorry.
Go ahead,
I
please.
just want to, I want to put it, these are where brainstorming.
Right, yeah.
Nothing has been,
Yeah.
this was a meeting where people were just talking through
Yep.
Yeah.
different ideas, so.
Yeah, because even in my head, I'm like, I don't know.
Just,
We don't, yeah.
no, so again, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but I just want to be really clear that, people.
My inbox thanks you for the
Agreed.
clarification.
Yes. Yeah. So definitely nothing definitive. Who knows if these will even work ideas. We were all spitballing things that we thought could be even an option. And the Reeves has enough space on the first floor. That's basically where that idea came from. So something else we're looking at is building portables at the Reeves. We are looking into how much that would cost, where they would go, that kind of thing. Again, very just an idea. We're also investigating the cost of leasing a space in Woburn and then bidding that for the early childhood program. We're also open to ideas people might have. Again, you can reach out to me if you have any, and these are just ideas. Nothing at all. We know very little about these ideas, so we're just investigating them. And we adjourned at 4:25.
Thank you very much. And I do really appreciate the ECP Task Force willingness to look creatively and think creatively. This is certainly something that is going to be coming before the committee a great deal over the course of this year. And so the ability to really look into all of our options is welcome. So thank you. Correspondence. I did have a couple of pieces of correspondence, but my computer has died, so I'll have to go to the phone. We received an email today from Ms. Amy Panicella regarding a couple of things. The first was a request to confirm that redistricting remains on the committee's agenda, and it certainly does. That is going to be a topic for our next meeting agenda, so we will begin discussions of restarting the redistricting process as of our October 8th meeting. She also provided some concerns regarding staffing at the high school and specifically the availability of substitute teachers. My understanding is she is also reaching out to Principal Rastanen regarding that. I did receive as well an email from Ms. Maura Embler, who is our representative on the Recreation Commission. And she provided us with an update. Members, I forwarded this to you earlier this evening. That just sort of looks...
Yeah, make a motion, make it a part of a permanent record, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Ms. Embler just wanted to let us know about a few different initiatives, so I'll just read a little bit through this. Looking at wrapping up a successful summer of programs, and a lot of that has to do with the the ability to run the camp through the Spence Farm property. Green Street spray park work has begun, including bathroom renovations. The Ferrulo Playground, which is funded by both state and city funds, will be accessible. It has been designed with input from residents. There were some concerns regarding initial designs, and so they did go back and take another look at those. Those new plans are in the process of being finalized. There are some additional capital projects on tap, including an updated playground at Leland Park, a skate park, lights at Ferrulo Field, floors at Spence Farm. The commission collaborated on open space plan for the city and a number of adaptive programs. There's a part-time adaptive program director through the rec department who's been working to increase our numbers and provide adaptive programs to younger participants. And so it sounds like the commission has been very busy, and thanks very much to Ms. Embler for representing the school committee on that commission, as she has been doing now for 4 years, which means she has one more year left on that term. So, do any other committee members have any correspondence?
Well, do we have to vote the mayor's dinner?
Do we?
That's in the packet.
Oh, okay. All right, so we did receive correspondence here from the mayor. I'm having trouble pulling it out here. There we go. On Sunday, November 3rd, 2024, the 47th Annual Mayor's Senior Dinner Appreciation Dinner will be held at Woburn Memorial High School starting at 11 a.m. Dinner will be served at noon. This is a tradition which attracts more than 450 Woburn seniors each year. So I'll accept a motion to approve the...
So moved.
All right, so I have a second?
What are we approving?
I think,
The mayor's dinner.
I apologize. Ms. Crowley has a
I
clarification.
believe that we're
Point of order.
specifically allowing the serving of alcohol on school grounds.
Very good.
Thank you for
Okay.
clarifying what the actual vote is.
Okay, that makes sense. So do I have a motion to approve the sale of alcohol, or the serving of alcohol at Woburn Memorial High School for the purpose of the Mayor's Senior
Pretty much
Appreciation?
no one would serve that.
Not the sale. We're not going to approve that.
That's why we get 450
So
people.
moved.
Strike that from the record. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that carries. Future agenda items.
I don't know if it's under correspondence, but just follow up. I did meet with Principal Dan at the high school about the handbook, and there's several things that he's going to be addressing through that, and he's going to meet with his school council, and when he gets them changed or brought back to us, we can just either amend it or just make note of it for next year that the same things don't happen. Because there's things in there that just don't relate to Memorial High School anymore.
Okay.
So just some were typos, some were minor things, but we just have to be cognizant of making sure that we really proofread that prior to our last meeting of the year.
Thank you very much for following up on that. So we'll pin that for a future agenda item further down the line in terms of a review.
Because he told me to get back, so we probably could do it like in December, and just if there's any updates, we could vote those in.
Great. Okay, thank you. Any other future agenda items? I do have one thing that I want to put before the committee a little bit. And I want to preface this by thanking Ms. McLeod, who for some work on this as well today. We had talked at our last meeting about a Google Drive folder to allow the public to view school committee documents. Dr. Crowley, I actually shared a document with you, but I think maybe we...
Mr. Chairman, you may want Ms. Crowley to take over the chair.
I'm not really presenting for any kind of approval, just sort of a future agenda type thing. Don't worry about it. So this will be a shared Google Drive folder that will allow the public to view school committee documents as the meeting is going on from their homes, so that we have a little bit more accessibility, a little more visibility on school committee materials that allows especially people watching over YouTube to be able to access our materials. So it's not quite ready for prime time, but we are getting close. And again, thank you to Ms. McLeod for helping me out with this and doing a lot of this work. This is something that she has done pretty regularly over the course of her tenure, and hopefully this will actually make your life a little bit easier as well. So. If there is nothing else, I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. We are adjourned.